The ending of episode 5 does not explode with action, it suffocates you with silence. One quiet decision, one still moment, and suddenly you realize Fallout is no longer asking who will survive. It is asking what survival is going to cost. The final moments of Fallout Season 2 Episode 5 are designed to feel uncomfortable, not loud. The episode slowly pulls everything away until only the truth is left standing. No big speech. No heroic music. No clear victory. Instead, the camera lingers, the air feels heavy, and every character looks like they already know something terrible is coming. This ending works because it forces the audience to sit inside the danger instead of escaping it. By the time the screen fades, the story has crossed a line it can never go back from. What makes this ending hit so hard is how small the final action feels on the surface. There is no massive explosion or sudden betrayal. It is a choice, a simple action that changes everything. Fallout has always been about survival, but episode 5 shows that survival is no longer about staying alive. It is about deciding who you are willing to lose. The ending makes it clear that the Wasteland does not reward kindness or patience anymore. It rewards those who act first, even if it destroys them later. The way the scene is shot tells its own story. The framing isolates the characters, separating them emotionally even when they are standing close. Long pauses replace dialogue, forcing viewers to read faces instead of listening to words. You can see fear, doubt, and regret pass across expressions without anyone saying a thing. This silence is not empty. It is loud with meaning. Fallout wants you to feel the weight of everything that has already gone wrong and everything that is about to go worse. By ending the episode this way, the show sends a clear message. The rules have changed. Trust is no longer safe. Waiting is no longer an option. Episode 5 is not an ending. It is a warning. From this point forward, every decision will leave scars, and no one will walk away clean. Lucy's decision in episode 5 proves that the Wasteland has finally reshaped her from the inside. This is not the same person who stepped out of the vault, believing the world could be fixed with honesty and rules. By the time the episode ends, Lucy understands something brutal and unavoidable. Good intentions do not protect you anymore. They make you weak. Her choice is not loud or dramatic, but it carries a heavy cost because it is the moment she accepts this truth. Throughout the episode, Lucy is pushed into situations where there is no clean answer. Every option in front of her leads to pain, loss, or guilt. What makes her final decision so powerful is that she knows exactly what it will take from her. She is fully aware that once she crosses this line, she cannot pretend she is different from the people she once feared. The Wasteland has taught her that survival does not come from being right. It comes from being willing. This moment shows how much Lucy has learned, but also how much she has lost. Earlier in the season, she still believed there was always another way. Episode 5 strips that belief away piece by piece. By the end, she chooses certainty over hope. She chooses control over mercy. It is not because she wants to become hard, but because being soft has already cost her too much. The world around her has proven again and again that hesitation is dangerous. What makes this choice even more painful is that Lucy does not celebrate it. There is no relief on her face, no sense of victory. Instead, there is a quiet understanding that something inside her has changed forever. She survives, but at a price she will carry forward. Fallout makes it clear that this is how people are shaped in this world. Not through big speeches, but through moments where there is no time to think, only act. This decision also changes how other characters will see Lucy going forward. She is no longer just a vault dweller trying to understand the surface. She has proven she can play the same dangerous game as everyone else. That makes her more powerful, but also more alone. Trust becomes harder when people realize you are capable of doing what must be done, no matter how ugly it is. Episode 5 uses Lucy's choice to underline one of Fallout's darkest themes. Survival is not about staying alive with your soul intact. It is about deciding which parts of yourself you are willing to leave behind. Lucy steps into that reality fully aware of what it means from this point on. Every move she makes will be judged against this moment. The wasteland did not break her. It taught her how to bend, and bending may be the only way she lasts. The final scene of episode 5 is filled with quiet details that say far more than the dialogue ever could. Fallout uses visuals, pauses, and background choices to hide meaning. In plain sight, nothing in this ending is accidental. Every frame is built to suggest that the danger ahead is bigger than what the characters can currently see. The show does not explain this out loud. It trusts the audience to notice what feels wrong and ask why it feels that way. One of the most important elements in the ending is how still everything becomes. The world of the wasteland is usually loud, violent, and chaotic, but the final moments pull all of that noise away. This calm is not peaceful. It is threatening. In Fallout, silence often means something powerful is moving in the shadows. The lack of music and action forces viewers to focus on small movements, eye contact, and body language. These quiet signals tell us that secrets are being kept and plans are already in motion. The environment itself also carries meaning. The way characters are positioned in the frame shows separation instead of unity. Even when people stand close, they feel emotionally distant. This visual distance reflects how trust is breaking down. Alliances may still exist on the surface, but underneath, everyone is protecting themselves. Fallout has always used setting as a mirror for the character's inner state. And episode 5 continues that pattern. The wasteland looks emptier, colder, and more dangerous because that is how the characters now see it. Small background details hint at larger forces at work. Technology glimpses, symbols, and familiar Fallout designs quietly point toward power struggles that go beyond the current conflict. These details suggest that the ending is not just about what happened in this episode, but about what has been. Slowly building all season, the show rewards viewers who pay attention because these clues hint at future betrayals, shifting power, and the return of threats that were thought to be buried. Another key detail is how the ending avoids clear answers. Fallout refuses to tell the audience who is right or wrong. Instead, it presents a moment frozen in uncertainty. This mirrors the reality of the wasteland. There are no clean victories here, only consequences, by leaving the ending open and unresolved. The show creates tension that lingers long after the episode ends. You are not supposed to feel satisfied. You are supposed to feel uneasy. The hidden meaning of this ending also connects to one of Fallout's core ideas. Knowledge is power, and those who control information control survival. Episode 5 suggests that some characters now know more than others, and that imbalance is dangerous. The quiet looks and unfinished conversations imply that truths are being held back for the right moment. When those truths finally surface, they will change everything. In the end, the final scene is a warning disguised as calm. It tells the audience that the story is about to shift from personal survival to larger conflict. The wasteland is no longer just something to endure. It is becoming a battlefield shaped by secrets, choices, and long-term plans. Episode 5 does not close a chapter. It opens a door, and what waits on the other side of Fallout is far more dangerous than anything seen so far. By the end of episode 5, Fallout makes one thing very clear. Winning in the wasteland has nothing to do with who is still standing in the open. The real victory belongs to those who gain control quietly without drawing attention. On the surface, some characters look defeated, injured, or pushed aside. But when you look closer, it becomes obvious that the episode reshapes power in ways that will only be understood later. Characters who appear to lose something in this episode often gain something far more dangerous in return, information, leverage, or freedom from old rules. Fallout has always shown that power does not come from strength alone. It comes from timing and position. Episode 5 shifts several characters into new positions where they may look weaker, but they are actually better placed for what comes next. This is why the ending feels so unsettling. There is no clear winner to celebrate, only a growing sense that the balance has tilted. Those who act loudly and aggressively throughout the episode end up exposed. Their intentions are clear. Their threats are obvious, and that makes them predictable. Fallout punishes predictability. Meanwhile, the characters who stay quiet, who listen more than they speak, and who allow others to underestimate them are the ones who walk away with the upper hand. Episode 5 quietly rewards patience and planning over force. The episode also reveals that survival is no longer the main goal for everyone. Some characters have moved beyond staying alive and are now focused on shaping the future. That shift is crucial. When survival turns into ambition, the rules change. Alliances become temporary. Promises become tools. Episode 5 shows that at least one character is no longer reacting to the wasteland, but actively trying to control it. That is where real power begins. Another important aspect of who truly wins lies in emotional control. Characters who allow fear, anger, or guilt to guide their. The episode also reframes loss itself. Losing a person, a place, or a sense of safety does not always mean defeat. In Fallout, loss can remove attachments that slow you down. Episode 5 suggests that some characters are now free in ways they were not before. That freedom comes with pain, but it also removes limits. Characters who have nothing left to protect are often the most dangerous. What makes this shift in Towers so effective is that the show does not explain it directly. Fallout trusts the audience to see the pattern forming. Conversations end early. Looks linger longer than expected. Decisions are made off-screen and felt afterward. All of this points to power changing hands quietly, without ceremony. By the time the consequences become visible, it will already be too late to stop them. Episode 5 ends with the feeling that the wrong people may have gained the advantage. Not the strongest, not the kindest, but the most adaptable. Fallout reminds us that the Wasteland does not crown heroes. It elevates survivors who understand how the game is played. As the story moves forward, the true winners of this episode will become clearer. And when they do, the cost of their victory will reshape everything in Fallout. Episode 5 quietly turns its ending into a love letter for longtime Fallout fans. But it does it in a way that never breaks the story for new viewers. The lore connections and Easter eggs are not pushed to the front. They sit in the background, waiting to be noticed. And that is what makes them powerful. Fallout has always been about history repeating itself, and this episode uses familiar symbols and ideas to remind us that the Wasteland never truly changes. It only finds new faces to wear old mistakes. One of the strongest lore elements in the ending is how technology is treated. Fallout has always warned that advanced technology is never just a solution. It is a temptation. Episode 5 reinforces this idea by showing how even small hints of tech can shift power instantly. A single object, a locked door, or a forgotten system can become more valuable than weapons or numbers. This connects directly to the core Fallout belief that knowledge and access are more dangerous than brute force. Vault imagery and design choices also play an important role in the ending. The lighting, the walls, and the closed spaces echo the idea that vaults were never meant to save people, only to control them, even outside the vaults. The world still feels trapped by old experiments and decisions made long before the current. Characters were born. Episode 5 uses these visual reminders to show that the past is not buried. It is still shaping every outcome. Subtle Brotherhood references also hint that larger forces are watching and waiting. Fallout fans know that when powerful groups stay quiet, it usually means they are planning something much bigger. Episode 5 drops small signs that suggest future involvement without confirming anything directly. This restraint keeps the tension high and reminds viewers that the Wasteland is never as empty as it looks. There are also emotional Easter eggs tied to Fallout's core theme of moral decay. Choices made in the ending mirror classic Fallout game moments where players had to choose between survival and humanity. Episode 5 reflects those same hard choices. But instead of asking the viewer to decide, it forces the characters to live. With the result, this connection makes the ending feel authentic to the Fallout universe rather than just inspired by it. Another important detail is how the episode treats hope. In classic Fallout style, hope is never fully destroyed, but it is always damaged. Small gestures, looks, or unfinished plans hint that something better could exist, but only if someone is willing to fight for it. Episode 5 keeps that hope distant and fragile, reminding viewers that optimism in the Wasteland is dangerous, but necessary. All of these lore connections serve one purpose. They warn the audience that the story is moving toward a much larger conflict. Fallout has never been just about individuals trying to survive. It has always been about systems failing and people paying the price. Episode 5 uses its Easter eggs to quietly prepare the ground for what comes next. By weaving these details into the background instead of the spotlight, the show respects both its roots and its audience. The ending of Episode 5 does not explain the Fallout universe. It trusts that the universe will explain itself through consequences, and as these hidden threads begin to pull tighter, the world of Fallout moves closer to a reckoning that no one will be able to avoid. Episode 5 does not end with closure, it ends with pressure. Everything that happens in the final moments is designed to push the story forward, not resolve it. Episode 6 is being set up as a point of no return, where the consequences of every choice made so far finally collide. Fallout makes it clear that the characters are about to face outcomes they can no longer avoid or delay. One of the biggest setups for Episode 6 is the collapse of trust. Relationships that were already fragile are now cracked beyond repair. Episode 5 shows that people are no longer sharing the full truth. Even with those closest to them, this secrecy will not stay hidden for long. When truths start to surface, they will do damage far greater than any weapon. Fallout has always shown that betrayal hurts more when it comes from someone you believed in, and Episode 6 is clearly moving in that direction. Power struggles are also about to become more visible. Episode 5 quietly places key characters into positions where they must either take control or be crushed by someone else's plan. The Wasteland no longer allows neutral ground. Episode 6 will force characters to pick sides, even if they do not want to. Staying undecided now means becoming a target. Fallout is setting up a shift from personal survival to open conflict, where control over people, land, and information becomes the real prize. Another major consequence set up by the ending is emotional fallout. Characters who made hard choices in Episode 5 have not yet processed what those choices mean. Episode 6 is where that weight will finally hit. Guilt, regret, and fear will begin to affect decisions, making even smart characters vulnerable. Fallout often shows that the mind breaks before the body, and Episode 6 is positioned to explore that weakness deeply. The ending also suggests that violence is about to escalate. The calm tone of Episode 5 is deceptive. It feels like the quiet before something brutal. Episode 6 is likely to strip away restraint and force action. Plans that were once careful will become desperate. Fallout thrives in moments where characters act without certainty, and the setup here points toward chaos replacing strategy. There is also a strong sense that the world itself is closing in. Safe paths are disappearing. Resources are becoming harder to protect. Episode 6 will likely show that survival is no longer about moving forward, but about standing your ground. Fallout uses this kind of shift to show how the Wasteland traps people, turning movement into risk and stillness into danger. Most importantly, Episode 5 sets up the idea that some damage cannot be undone. Episode 6 will not offer easy fixes or forgiveness. Fallout is preparing the audience for lasting consequences that will carry through the rest of the season. Characters will be defined not by what they want anymore, but by what they have already done. As the story moves into Episode 6, the message is clear. The Wasteland is done testing people. It is about to judge them. The ending of Episode 5 lights the fuse. And what follows next will decide who truly belongs in the world of Fallout, and who will be broken by it by the time episode 5 fades out. Fallout has quietly rewritten what the rest of the season is really about. Section 7 is where everything comes together, not in action, but in meaning. This episode is not just a turning point in the plot, it is a shift in the soul of the story. Fallout is no longer focused on discovery or adaptation. It has moved into a phase where consequences are permanent and growth comes from damage, not hope. What episode 5 truly confirms is that the Wasteland does not care about intention anymore. Early in the season, characters could still justify their actions by saying they were trying to do the right thing. That excuse no longer works. The ending proves that every major character has now crossed at least one line they cannot erase. From this point forward, Fallout becomes a story about living with those lines instead of avoiding them. This shift changes how the audience should view every character going forward. No one is fully innocent anymore, and no one is fully evil either. Fallout removes simple labels and replaces them with responsibility. Characters are not judged by what they believe, but by what they are willing to live with. Episode 5 locks those identities into place. Episode 6 and beyond will not be about who people want to become, but who they already are. Another important takeaway from this episode is how the show treats the idea of progress. Fallout suggests that progress in the Wasteland is often an illusion. Technology advances, alliances form, and plans move forward, but the core cycle of control, fear, and loss never truly breaks. Episode 5 reinforces that the world is still running on the same broken systems that destroyed it in the first place. The difference now is that the characters are aware of it, and awareness makes their choices heavier. The episode also confirms that the emotional cost of survival is rising faster than the physical costs. Teeth injuries heal, places can be rebuilt, and supplies can be replaced, but trust, belief, and identity are harder to recover. Fallout is slowly stripping these things away, leaving characters functional but hollow. Episode 5 is the moment.